Welcome to the House of Refuge. My name is Michael Phillips and I am lucky enough to be keeper of the house. Houses of Refuge were built by the Life Saving Service between 1875 and 1885, only on the east coast of Florida. Now, the difference between a House of Refuge and a life-saving station is basically personnel. In a life-saving station, you may have 8 to 10 men complete with equipment to go into the water. In a House of Refuge, you have a keeper and perhaps his wife, and he is responsible for walking 30 miles of beachfront, offering food, clothing, and shelter to shipwrecked survivors. I'm sitting in the parlor of the only remaining House of Refuge. At one time, there were 10. They went from Houses of Refuge, and then in 1915 became Coast Guard stations, and then in 1941 the remaining became Naval Observation Stations. What happened to Houses of Refuge is this. At the end of World War II, the Navy decommissioned all of its naval observation stations, which had been Houses of Refuge, and they became Navy surplus. At that point, the Navy sells its surplus. Therefore, all of these places went up for sale. Most of them were purchased right away. Ones like Fort Lauderdale, Dania, Key Biscayne, Hutchinson Island, no one even bid on. Hutchinson Island in 1945 was not what it is today. It was very inhospitable. It was covered with wild animals. There were no roads. There was no electricity. There was no running water. So no one really wanted it. The Navy actually abandoned this particular house. It sat empty for 8 years. And Martin County suddenly realized it was the only House of Refuge left. And so they bought from the federal government 16.5 acres of beach and the cluster of buildings known as the House of Refuge for less than $500. In this room, we have lots of artifacts. We have a representation of a life-saving service uniform. I have an actual keeper's cap. There is an Edison in the corner, which was the entertainment center in the 1890s. Keepers often had second jobs. You don't get a shipwreck every day, so there's plenty of time to do another trade. Herbert Bessie, who was keeper for 10 years in the 1890s up until about 1902, was a boat builder. I'm holding one of his half hulls. A half hull is a model of the boat he's going to build you. This particular half hull has written on it the client's name. The client's name was McCoy. Bill McCoy, who lived in Salerno, was a rum runner. The name of the boat, Tax Dodger.